But return to our main story tonight. Sepp Blatter has won another term as president of FIFA, football's world governing body, in a vote overshadowed, of course, by arrests and corruption allegations. In his acceptance speech, Mr. Blatter said he took full responsibility for restoring FIFA's reputation. Well, earlier, I spoke to Heidi, the investigations editor at BuzzFeed, who was formerly part of the Sunday Times Insight team, which investigated corruption at FIFA. She gave her reaction to Blatter's reinstatement.
You have to wonder, what would it be that he would actually have to do in order to lose the confidence of FIFA's members? I mean, you know, he's presided over an organisation in which corruption is so totally endemic and rampant, you know, that it's now, it's an utter kind of worldwide disgrace, and yet he still clings on to power. And actually, you know, okay, a third of FIFA's members voted against him, but, you know, two-thirds voted for him, and that's just kind of quite extraordinary in light of recent events.
What did you make of his acceptance speech as well? There was absolutely no mention of the allegations. He kind of pointed to it in a roundabout way.
Yeah, I mean, it's a kind of masterclass in defiance from Sepp Blatter every time, and he's done this time and time again. I mean, this is incredibly reminiscent of the 2011 election, when he'd weathered another series of corruption scandals around the hosting of the 2018 and 2022 World Cup, and a bribery scandal during the election involving the Qatari candidate Mohammed bin Hammam. And Sepp Blatter stood up and said very much the same sorts of things that he was saying today before the election, that he was the one to unite FIFA and lead them through the stormy waters, and that he wanted to fix the organisation, and he asked just for one last chance to do it before he finally retired. And then we're hearing it all again, you know, 5 years later, and it's just very, very depressing to see, and you know, it's an extraordinary show of defiance.
And there was the famous BBC Panorama investigation as well as yours, which was just before the World Cup. You and your colleague Jonathan Calvert won some awards as well. Your work was highly regarded into alleged bribery at Qatar. Do you feel, though, that your work perhaps has come to fruition now, because we've got a criminal investigation?
Yeah, I mean, it's great to see the FBI investigating, and I think all credit to them for stepping up to the plate and being, you know, prepared to take FIFA on where all other authorities have hitherto totally failed to crack down. Actually, the FBI investigation is focusing really on CONCACAF, the North American and Caribbean Confederation, and our work really is more about the World Cup awards to Qatar and Russia. But in tandem with that, there's a Swiss investigation by Swiss prosecutors, and they are looking very much at the 2018 and 2022 World Cups, and I hope that our work will form part of what they look at, and that we may yet, you know, get some kind of outcome. But, you know, you in the end, you sort of begin to despair, really, and I just have to believe that it's still worth having put the truth out there, because I think that people the world over now know that, you know, that process was deeply corrupted.
Heidi, in your experience, having done an investigation, have the Swiss authorities and the FBI got their work cut out?
Yeah, I mean, they have, because the corruption is just so widespread and so labyrinthine. But I mean, you know, clearly the FBI are taking an extremely firm line, and the Swiss prosecutors are looking at the investigation report by Michael Garcia, FIFA's internal investigator, which they tried so very hard to suppress when it was given to them last year, causing Michael Garcia himself to resign and cry whitewash.
It still hasn't been released, has it?
It hasn't been released. No, FIFA have steadfastly refused to make it public, but it's good news that Swiss prosecutors have now got hold of it, because I was speaking to someone a couple of days ago very close to Michael Garcia, who was telling me that one of the big problems they faced in their investigation was they lacked the power to compel witnesses, and they had no subpoena powers, so they couldn't seize documents. They think that with the Swiss prosecutors now looking at the same stuff, you know, they're going to have the power to demand evidence and documents. They've already raided FIFA's headquarters, and maybe that's going to blow some of those dead ends that Garcia himself came up against wide open.